Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're drafting some Asauruses in Draftosaurus. High quality comedy right there.
He wrote that joke himself.
So, just as the name implies, in Draftosaurus, you'll be drafting Asauruses, or dinosaurs, or dino-meeples, or deeples, or however you want to say it.
This is Aaron's last video.
Everybody will draw out of a bag. You'll get 6 dino-meeples, and we will be selecting one, just like you do in a normal draft, secretly, revealing it, putting it in your park, and then passing the rest for everyone to draft. The placement in the park is what really is how you score all of your points. Every cage in the park has different scoring mechanisms and different ways to, accumulate points based on what you put in that actual cage.
And this board is double-sided. And to be honest, the different sides aren't that different. They're, they feel different enough to where I'd be down to play,
It mixes it up a little bit.
It mixes it up, and the game is quick enough to where you can play both sides back to back and feel like that's a game instead of just the one round. But yeah, it's like, you're trying to get all of the same, or you're trying to get all different, or this you're trying to get any 3, or this one wants to be lonely one in the park and all that. But one rule that it's always the last rule. If you're ever teaching the game, that should be the last thing you explain to people. Is so while everybody does the draft simultaneously, there kind of is somebody who has a turn because they roll that die. And that die gives a placement restriction for everybody but them. So you can only place in the top half of the board. You can only place in the bottom half, the left half, the right half, and so on and so forth. It's just a little twist in there so that way, everybody's board isn't going to look... With a draft, it probably wouldn't look identical, but it's not like, everybody's going to just go for this immediately at the same time,
Yeah, because if you can tell in the first draft, there's a lot of, Triceratops out there, and you can just go for, the couples pin every single time, you may have a little bit of a runaway leader in that case, and that die makes it such that you can't always do exactly what you want to. Fortunately, you roll the die before you draft, so you're not oh, crap, I drafted this to go in that pen, but now I can't place it in that pen. But it definitely does force you, because... there's the one that, you get a point for any time your opponent places a dinosaur on the other side.
Yeah.
And that way you're like, oh, well, Tom put T-Rexes there because T-Rexes give you point for placing them. Then he gets more points than I do for placing them if I place them. But then he can force me by saying, well, here's all T-Rexes. So now you're being forced to give me a point or something like that. So it does add just, like Tom said, a little bit of a twist that I think makes it a little bit more gamer's game other than just drafting dinosaurs.
Yeah, some of these restrictions, if they come up late in the game, can feel a little detrimental. There's one where you have to place it in an empty pen, and you could have a dinosaur in every pen when you get to the last round, and you're like, oh... well, now I have to throw it in the river. Because the river is always an option, but you only get 1 point for that dinosaur, instead of, the possibility of scoring multiple points by, sticking them in one of the other pens.
You could get 7 points just by putting him in the lonely dinosaur pen.
If he's the only one on your board, though. So,
right.
there's a lot of strategy in that. You don't want to pick that, first round. This is going to be the only one I drafted this because somebody could see that and force you, he put an orange one in his pen. I have two oranges and a yellow. I'm going to draft this yellow, so I have to pass some oranges and just take away his points. So there is a little bit of strategy. I mean, it definitely comes after, a playthrough or two where you're like, oh, how can I screw this other guy over? Especially when you play on the reverse side, like you're saying with that one pen. It's like, oh, I'm going to stick this up here and score points every time you put one of those on your board.
And I didn't think there was a lot of hate drafting in this game. You definitely can, but because of the variety of dinosaurs and because of how many points you can score for a well-placed dinosaur, it's definitely not a game, for me at least, that hate drafting became a really big proponent in it. I made glance at the other people's boards just to see what colors are they going for. So what colors should I put in my couples pen? Or, if you do have that, where you have, one, the second to last draft, or the last actual draft with one of each color, I may look and say, well, they both benefit me, so what would be more of a detriment to him? But it definitely isn't, a super antagonistic hate drafting game.
There also is, me and Aaron played the 2-player variant, where when you pick one to draft, and then you pick one to burn, and then you pass. So there's a little bit more hate drafting in that variant. But the game is so quick that it really doesn't feel like you're investing a lot if you lose or if you make a stupid mistake. Or, oh man, why did I put that guy there? That doesn't work. Or I just handed him, I can count and see there's no more yellows. Why'd I just start the all yellows thing right here? What am I doing? The game is so, seriously, it says in the box 15 minutes. Yeah. Less than that if everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It could seriously be like a 5 to 10 minute game, which is awesome because 5 to 10 minute games that actually are fun to play and strategic and have good components and look cool and everybody's going to have a great time are super rare. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of really impressed with this one.
And I do think that it's a fun enough game that you're going to want to, I'd be happy to play this game 4 times in a row as well. Mm-hmm. So it goes really quick, but it's not like 10 minutes, we're done, let's do something else now. It's good that the board flips over for that, because if you can play this side twice, flip it over, play that side twice, and that can be a good, hour of time to kill. That would be fun the whole time. It's definitely one that I'm happy to play again and again and again, back to back.
I'm not going to say Zombie Dice is as good as this, but it almost has that lightness of you could just keep playing it.
Right.
Zombie Dice, you're just I'm going to press my luck and go. This is, it's a draft, it's different, but it's kind of as light, but this is definitely better because it's more strategic. There's more.
The only thing is that Zombie Dice is more travel sized.
Yeah.
I mean, they got this.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, they got it down as about as small as they could get it. Well, the gambling people are going to say, "Hold my beer," but
you wouldn't get dinosaur meeples, so you get little cubes.
And they honestly didn't need to have these. This could have been cards or something. This whole game could have been a deck of cards.
That wouldn't have been fun.
You would have folded out a piece of paper that would give you this mat or something.
Again, the tactile of the dinosaurs is great. And they are small enough that you still can't maybe if it says 8 and up. Maybe if you're 8, you may have trouble holding 5 dinosaurs in your hand, but you hold the dinosaur secret and pass them like that.
Well, you also definitely got to tell people when you're pulling from the bag, just pull quick. I don't want to see you feeling around. Okay, I'm getting them. I dropped one. It's there we go. That's what I wanted. Hell yeah, I'm taking that bad boy.
I wouldn't even thought about that.
Because they're all different shapes. Aaron used to be able to feel the outside of Lego packs to know what figure is in there, okay? Aaron could definitely do this.
I've been to Toys R Us with Aaron, and we spent an hour sitting there
trying to get dates.
We definitely had a lot of fun with Draftosaurus, and I honestly think that almost everyone is going to enjoy this game. Unless you're I hate fun. It's a blast to play. It's relatively inexpensive because of the size, and we definitely recommend that you get it. So click on that purchase link in the description box down below. Pick yourself up a copy.
And while you're down there clicking on links and whatnot, you should click on the subscribe button so that way you'll never be bored.
Oh, rest in peace, Toys R Us.